damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today we are going to talk about, well, Oklahoma versus Alabama. We're also going to talk about Jalen Hertz. We're also going to do an interview that I performed with Ty Diarman that I'm going to air here live for the folks that showed up for the live. We're also going to get into 5 ways that Oklahoma can beat Alabama, for which we've all been led to believe, as some sort of Godzilla, some sort of Titan, some sort of juggernaut that is unable to be slayed by men. But, you know, what do I say? We have Kyler Murray, and you don't. So, also, today, we're going to try this, new call-ins, right? So if you are a Patreon patron, or you are a Super Chat donor that I know by name, I've sent you the call-in number. I expect to get some phone calls here pretty soon, actually. And we'll see how that goes. You know, I thought it'd be cool. Folks have wanted call-ins to the show. Some of y'all just want to laugh at other people who might call in with some silly comment or some silly idea or some silly question for which I will probably dunk on somebody. Kind of like folks that call in the Feinbaum show. Like there was a dude called in the Feinbaum show not too long ago after Kyler Murray had won the Heisman Trophy and said that Kyler Murray wouldn't even be our third-string quarterback at Alabama, and Feinbaum had to even just say, no, I got to stop you there. And I thought it was just hilarity, and that's what we're here for, right? We're here to have a good time. We're also here to talk some football. So let's start with this. Oklahoma's defense is garbage. We know this. We know the defense is garbage. It ranks 108th in the country in total defense. It ranks 96th in scoring, with 32.1 points given up per game. We also know that it ranks dead last in pass defense, giving up nearly 300 yards passing a game, 291.4 per game. Now, forget that Oklahoma plays in the Big 12 and everybody throws the ball around in this league, right? Because nobody else wants to really get into that. Forget that perhaps, that it's not that people can't play defense in this league. It's that it's really hard to play defense in this league, unless you're Porsche, you're Gary Patterson, in which case you still get torched by Oklahoma because Oklahoma puts up points, right? And Oklahoma scores. But to the point about the defense, have we forgotten that this Oklahoma defense held Florida Atlantic, which was an 11-win team a year ago that was supposed to be very good, to 14 points? Doesn't get any credit for that. Have we forgotten that Oklahoma held Kansas State 14 points? Have we forgotten about that? Have we forgotten that the OU defense gave up 20 points total to TCU? I mean, I don't necessarily think that the defense is good. I just don't think the defense is given its due. All right? We also don't necessarily give it credit for the way that it showed up in the last 2 games. West Virginia and Texas matter. You don't beat West Virginia, you don't get into the Big 12 title game. You don't beat Texas, you don't get into the college football playoff. And in both of those games, your defense stood tall and scored you points. So against West Virginia, Oklahoma had a 4-point lead heading into the fourth quarter, won that game by 3, in a game where the defense scored 12 points. So math says you don't win that game unless the defense scores points. Then you go to Texas. You lose Marquise Hollywood Brown, which we'll talk about here in a bit, to a foot injury. Put him on crutches. He's crying on the sideline. It's tied up at 27. Feels like it could be anybody's game. Oklahoma held Texas scoreless in the final quarter of the game. To say nothing of Trey Brown's safety, where he blitzed, caught Sam Ehlinger, put him on his back, got the safety, got the turnover, got the points. Okay? You win that game 39-27. Win that game by 2 touchdowns because your defense stood tall in the fourth quarter. Now, what I'm saying is, if Oklahoma can put together a lead of some sort into the fourth quarter against Alabama, we have proof that the OU defense will figure out what's going on with it and make some adjustments. Now, we also know that this is an OU team from 2017 that had a 17-point lead against Georgia and gave it up and lost in overtime. But check it. You still had a 17-point lead against what many folks believe was one of the best, if not the best, defense in all of football. So your offense is going to give you opportunities to succeed as a defense because they put up 49.5 points a game. And Oklahoma is undefeated when they score 51 in the Lincoln Riley era. They're 11-0. Okay? Now, on top of all of that, you know Kyler Murray is the Heisman Trophy winner. You also know that Trey Sermon said today at availability, I'm back to 100%. I'm ready to roll for the first time since TCU without this high ankle sprain. You're going to get Marquise Hollywood Brown back. We're getting reports that he's practicing. He's getting ready for the game. He's coming off the ball. It's about how good he's going to be and how really healthy he's going to be on Saturday. That's important. You also know that Kennedy Brooks is averaging nearly a first down. He is a walking first down in the backfield. You know that CeeDee Lamb has over 50 catches for over 1,000 yards receiving, and he has the most upside of any offensive player on the team not named Kyler Murray. You also know you have the best offensive line in college football today, won the Joe Moore Award. You have All-Americans on the offensive line. You have the best offensive lineman in the country, in the conference, Andrew Samia. You got an All-American in Ben Powers. You got two guys that are going to play in the NFL in Cody Ford and Bobby Evans at left tackle, and you got the person everybody agrees is the most talented football player on the team at center in Creed Humphrey. What I'm saying is, despite the defense having its troubles and not wanting to really give it credit for playing the Big 12, Oklahoma has more than an opportunity to win this game. That said, 14-point underdog, and folks are talking about how could they even expect to compete in this game? How could they even expect to keep up with the best Alabama team Nick Saban has ever fielded? Well, we're going to get into more of that, right? We're going to talk about that at length. But first, we got to do the live read. We got to pay the bills. And you know what we've been paying the bills with these big games is the fanstop.com. So I'm going to do the read. I'm going to tell you why you should really invest in the fanstop.com. Get you one of these nice shirts right here, fam. So check it. Sign up for the Sign up for the OU Sooners T-shirt of the Month Club. Start receiving a new and unique design delivered right to your front door. Packages include standard and premium, both with free shipping from thefanstop.com. Use the promo code RJYoung, all caps, no periods, one word, to receive 10% off your first order. That's fanstop.com. So if you go there, you put my name into the promo code, you get 10% off your order. They send you one of these for signing up. It's nice. It feels real good against my skin. You know, it puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Now, my mom has already bought one of these shirts, right? And I know that Dieter has bought one of these shirts, and they're going to get more. Matter of fact, my mom was like, when you go see these fellas, tell them I like my shirt, but I want another shirt. Send me my shirt. Because she's so looking forward to the design. She's so looking forward to being able to expand her OU Sooners gear clothing line in her closet, right? Or wherever your closet is. So we all know, love t-shirts. I'm a graphic tee guy. People show up to see what the thumbnail is on the videos to see what t-shirt I'm wearing, let alone what I got to say about the team or what I got to say about college football or sports in general, because the t-shirts are important. So you know that if I wear the t-shirt, I like the t-shirt. I'm not out here wearing t-shirts that I don't like, and I don't like wearing t-shirts that don't feel good against my skin. So if you got the time and you got the funds, go to fanstop.com. Spend $20 on a standard shirt. Spend, I think it's like $25 on a premium package, which comes with in winter months, they got like long sleeves and like hoodies that they're going to do. You know, I can't wait to get one of those. It's going to come to my door. I'm invested in it. I like fanstop.com. I'm glad that they're a sponsor for the live show. So with that said, I want to go into a bit of recruiting. For those of you who are into recruiting, you know that basically the last week has been all about early signing period and all about what Lincoln Riley was able to do without a defensive coordinator. What Lincoln Riley was able to do without a defensive coordinator, and the way that he was closing with defensive recruits all the way up and through the late afternoon on Wednesday of early signing day with Marcus Stripling, with Jeremiah Cradell, with LaRon Stokes. And now, you got another dude. Guy that came completely off my radar and most people's radar. And an Arizona State flip commit, Ty DeArmond. So now let's see what Ty DeArmond has to say about becoming a Sooner signee. Let's run that right quick.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
How he got to Oklahoma after committing to Arizona State last June. How he's always had Oklahoma on the mind. when he thought that this opportunity could be real, and the whirlwind of thinking that he was going to sign to play at Arizona State and then signing to play at Oklahoma and what went into that decision. But first, let's get some background on a dude who's got 3 stars next to his name, but plays both ways and is 6'1", 190. Now, he projects at the safety position for Oklahoma, but when he was being recruited by Arizona State, he was going to play what they call this Tillman position after Pat Tillman. Hero of mine, should be a hero of yours. If he's not, we probably can't be friends. But if you're looking at a guy like Ty DeArmond, you can see how he can do almost anything you want him to do. Special teams, offense, defense. This is a dude who ran the 4x1 in high school. As a junior, had 990 yards of offense and 73 tackles. He was just named second team All-State next to his Sooner signee teammate Jamal Morris. So you got 2 All-State guys coming to Oklahoma in the 2019 class, playing in the same defensive backfield to go alongside Jaden Davis on one side and Woody Washington on the other. Ty also can play some linebacker, which kind of means he plays the game with violent intentions. Matter of fact, that's one of the first things that you notice about him is when he comes downhill, he comes downhill with force, but he sees the whole field. He sees the game in a way that you expect quarterbacks to see the game, quite frankly, and that's why I'm really high on him and his potential. At 6'1", 190, he looks more like an Eric Weddle would be his comp to the NFL because he's so cerebral and because you can do so many different things with him. This is the kind of guy a lot of folks like in the vein that they loved Wes Welker, in the vein that they love Julian Edelman. You just look at him and you say football player. Maybe he's a wideout, maybe he's a safety. You don't really know until you see how he figures out to be in your scheme on what side of the ball. But with a guy like Ty DeArmond, who was categorized as an athlete, you obviously have options, especially with 3 safety commits to this 2019 class. Jeremiah Cradell, obviously Ty DeArmond, and my man Jamal Morris. So obviously Arizona State was not happy to hear that Ty DeArmond had changed his mind. But when your dream school gives you an offer, even if they give you an offer late, you can understand how you drop everything and you say, you know what? I'm going to go to the place that I've always wanted to go to school. And it's going to be really interesting because Ty divulged in our conversation that his dad kind of ruled up a burnt orange fan. And I'm interested to see how that plays out. Now, I know that his dad, Danny, is going to be all in on Oklahoma because that's what fathers do for their sons. But it's always going to be fun to rib your dad when you're wearing the crimson and cream and he's kind of growing up with the burnt orange, and seeing him probably wear the crimson and cream at the Red River rivalry every single season. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, now let's get into my conversation with Ty DeArmond. You were a late add, late commit, late signing to this 2019 class. We call it New Wave 19. And hey, man, defensively, you guys came together here later, right up until the wire with 4 of y'all, you know, from the JUCO ranks and from Bowie and from, man, what, Jamal Morris is, I was thinking about that the other day. Having you and Jamal Morris in the same class and how cerebral both of you are, playing free safety, strong safety, and what I like most about that defensive back group of the 2019 recruits. But let's just back up and talk about you for a second. So how did you know that you wanted to be at Oklahoma?
Well, it was about probably a year ago that Coach Stoops had contacted me and my dad, and he just started texting me. And he started talking to my dad about they were interested. And so me and him started talking a little bit. Then he came up to the school. And he talked to my dad. Me and him had a conversation. And then I guess it was junior day last year that Coach Riley and Coach Stoops had texted me the day before the junior day. And they asked me to come up. And they said if they weren't serious, then they wouldn't have let me know the day before. So we went up there, had a great time. I talked to Coach Stoops and Coach Cooks. My dad and Coach Cooks, I think they played against each other in high school because I know he went to Irving. And so they talked for a little bit and had some connection. And then I didn't get a chance to talk to Coach Riley after because he got caught up doing something. But the whole visit was amazing. The facilities, everything. I fell in love as soon as I left. I was like, you know what, this is where I want to be. But they never offered. But I mean, we stayed in contact, just like here and there. And I mean, that's about it. I mean, I've been wanting to go there for a while before the junior day, because my dad, I grew up in a Texas Longhorn household, and my dad been burnt orange because he changed over. Well, he didn't change it over, but our school colors are burnt orange and white, and I'm sure it has something to do with Texas Longhorn. So, so him being a Longhorn fan, I've always kind of gone against him and been a Center fan, and like doing that, and I've slowly just started more and more liking the program and everything about it. So,
well, talk me through not getting the offer, right? Knowing that you're a fan of the team and wanting to go to school there, but you end up committing to Arizona State last June. What went into the process of figuring out, okay, I'm not getting the offer from my dream school. What are my next options?
Well, I mean, when they didn't offer, some other schools like started talking to me more, and then when Arizona State offered, Coach Antonio Pierce, he called me, said they were going to offer, and I hadn't really like known a whole lot about the coaches. Like there was a new coaching staff, but I didn't know like a whole lot. And then Coach Edwards, he called me, and so I talked to him, and I heard about him, and I watched some videos, but I didn't realize who it was until like my dad was like, "Bro, this is freaking Herm Edwards," and so
And
that was
Antonio
big.
Pierce.
Yes, and Antonio Pierce, and so that was big. I mean, he was like, "I don't think you realize how freaking awesome that is," and so
Did he give you the?
they brought me up.
Did he give you the "they play to win the games" quote?
Oh no, he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't. I'm sure he did like later on, but not during whenever they first offered that phone call. But I had went up there to visit on my official, and it was, I mean, talking to Coach Edwards, he is the same person as he is on the TV in the interviews. He's like he gets real comfortable, and I mean, he doesn't make it awkward or anything. He knows what he's talking about. So I really like that. So I had committed to them, and it just, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of communication with Oklahoma after that. It was just still here and there. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? How's the season going? But it wasn't anything serious.
Okay. Well, you decide to commit to Arizona State, so you like something there. You like Herm Edwards. You like Antonio Pierce. But you were all set to go there, right? I mean, even up until signing day. Walk me through knowing that you were going to sign your national letter of intent to go play at Arizona State, and then ended up at Oklahoma. What happened? What transpired for you?
Well, I mean, at the back of my head, I've always been a Sooner fan. So when Coach Riley DM'd me on Twitter and he was like, "Hey, have you signed yet?" I said, "Nope." I was like, I said, "No, sir." I said, "No, sir, I have not." And he said, "Okay, well, something may have come up." So I was like, "All right." So I was supposed to sign at like 7:20, I think. And then he didn't text for a little longer, and then he said, "Hey, can you give me a call?" So I called him, and he said, "Hey, are you still in? Are you still interested?" I said, "Yes, sir." Well, he said, "Well, if you're ready to do this thing, I am too. We're 100%. So I was like, "Heck yeah." So I get up, we hung up, and I called my dad, I let him know. And he's like, "What?" And so as soon as that happened, I called Arizona State, I let them know. They said they understand. And so, okay, so the night before, really the deal on making that decision, I was on making that it kind of did something, made me feel some type of way. And so for Coach Riley, when he called, 14 hours is a lot different than 3 hours.
Right.
So,
Right.
so it's a lot closer to home. I can come visit, and so that sealed the deal.
I hear you. I hear you. So you decide after you get the official offer, just hours before you're
Mhm.
supposed to sign your national letter of intent, that you're gonna go to Oklahoma, and now you got all this buzz around you from all these folks that don't know you, right? Who
Mhm.
just look on Twitter, who are looking at your huddle film, and they have all these things to say about you. How do you feel just getting all that attention? Do you like it? Is it off-putting? I mean, that's a part of recruiting that nobody really talks about, or it gets to talk
Mhm.
about at length. I mean, how do you feel right now?
I mean, I don't feel any different than I did. I mean, people are gonna have their opinions. They either like me or they don't. I'm still gonna be who I am. Still gonna play the way I play. I mean, having fans, that's good. Don't want anybody dogging you or anything. So, I mean, it didn't. I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm still not good. It doesn't do anything to me as a person.
Are you planning to early enroll?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. All right. So you're going to join up in June.
Right.
Wow. That's embarrassing. Okay, that was embarrassing. Wow. Let's see. How's that sound, folks? How's that sound? All right. Throw the script out the window. How about that? How about we throw the script out the window? How about we talk about this? Who else is here? Yeah. All right. So now we got back up. Probably didn't even get to hear Bill. Good grief. It's a lot of moving parts over here. Got a new soundboard. Soundboard has a switch that you flip on, and when you flip it on, that's how you know that it's working. I didn't flip it on. I flipped it off to run the interview, and I didn't flip it on when Bill got on. Yo, man. All right, so backtrack. All of the good stuff that has been able to get bought for the channel, new iMac, better XLR cables, soundboard, stuff that allows me to do what I would think is a really cool and professional show, doesn't really matter if you don't flip the switch, now does it? Sigh. All right, Bill, if you want to call me back, we'll do this over again, dude, because I gotta eat that. Matter of fact, let me call Bill. I'm gonna call Bill. Y'all can hear me now, so I'm gonna call Bill. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call Bill, and if it's ringing, we'll know that he's there. Let's see. This is ringing. You can hear it ringing. Great.
Oh,
You there? Hello?
is this okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh,
Let's do that again.
yeah, I can hear you now.
Cause flipping the switch is something that RJ didn't do.
Yeah, that's what he said. So you got it back up.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Yeah. I look over the chat and it's like, oh, hey, dude, we can't hear you, and I'm like, great. So let's do this again. How about you? What do you say?
Okay, I was all I was doing, he said call him about 6:45, but I was calling him because he obviously wasn't looking at the chat. So.
Okay.
But you caught him.
All right. Well, then
But anyway, yeah, I've got. Okay, I'll call back in a few minutes.
Yeah, call me back in just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Burn, you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Okay. Were you here for this cluster?
I saw it. It's all right, no worries.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, let's clown it, please.
All right.
No. You gotta clown
all
it.
good. Well, I mean, everything that I was saying, I'll repeat what I was saying to RJ.
Please.
You know, are we on here?
Yeah, we're on here, dog. It's working.
All right. Anyway, what I said to RJ earlier was, you know, congratulations on a hell of a 2018 with his book, you know, his video and with natural light and all that stuff. Just an amazing 2018. I started following RJ about a month after he went live, and it was just like, hey, you know, here's a guy who's got some grit, some passion, and deserves to be supported. So, I mean, I just, you know, for me, it's been fun just to kind of be a part, you know. Anyway.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I just think it's cool, you know, and everyone is a big Sooner fan, and I think Sooner Nation is a hell of a lot bigger than most people think it is. I mean, we started a club here in Chicago. We got 300 members in the OU club here in Chicago. That's pretty big for a, you know. Yeah, we have 300 people watching the game. Well, I think
like
we're having a beer drinking. Yeah, we're having a beer drinking contest with the Notre Dame fans for
okay.
the first time. I don't know, some of the playoff thing. Anyway, it's a playoff deal. Anyway, so so my question to you that didn't get aired was, over the years, you always hear a little whisper about how the team's preparing. Are they focused? Is someone partying? Is there some distractions, et cetera, et cetera? Which kind of gives you a little clue. So I was just wondering. I know you're an insider, so it's like, what are you hearing? What's the whisper on the playoff prep?
Okay, I'm gonna do this again, Bill. I'm gonna hang up the phone and say
you're gonna re-answer
and learn it with me on the fly. Oh my goodness!
No worries,
I swear
bro.
I'm gonna get this down and we're gonna be good at it. But I appreciate this right here. Watching me screw up has been a part of this channel. I mean, with the reverb and do you remember when I used to be shouting like across the room? Do you remember this? And it was like
a little bit, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, like you know, and then we got the better microphone, and now we got a new soundboard, and I'm kind of working it out on the fly. I swear, it gets better, right? The picture gets better, the sound gets better, but the growing pains are real because they're happening right in front of you in real time. And
well, yeah, but you got stuff you got to figure out too if you're not used to doing it. It's like, man, so I couldn't do it. I tell you right now, there's no way I could do it.
No, and I appreciate.
I'm just happy you're willing to have the grit to put yourself out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what just occurred. We did 10 minutes of me just dead air, and nobody could hear me. So now I'm gonna answer your question now. All right, bro. Bill.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right. So, question was, look, how is the team's morale? How are they focused? What are they thinking about since they got there? And now I'm going to give this again, which is, look, Ben Powers took the lead. When they landed the airplane in Miami to begin their preparation for the bowl game this week, he got in front of reporters late at night and said, look, I'm not going out. I'm not going to these junkets. I'm not going to lounge by the pool. I'm not going to bask myself in the gifts that come from the Orange Bowl. I'm going to practice and to study so that I can beat Alabama. The job is to win the football game. That's why we're here. That's why they're in Miami Gardens. That's why they were out there practicing FAU. That is the job. And with Ben Powers taking the lead like that, as a guy everybody knows as a football player, a guy everybody knows is a tough son of a gun. Like, his dad's one of my favorite follows on Twitter because almost every other tweet ends with "get some." I mean, it's the kind of dude that taught Ben when he's playing basketball to be physical, and Ben fouled out a lot. But you also have that kind of attitude across the offensive line. We know that Bill Bedenbaugh is the kind of guy with a facial tic when he sees something that doesn't go just right. We know that Lincoln Riley's been preparing and that he's going to be prepared, and his play calling is second to none. We also know that with Kyler Murray's illness, right? If he's sick, we don't know. Flu-like symptoms, we don't know. We're calling it the Heisman flu because Baker had this thing in the last year. I think it's literally, they didn't want the dude to have to answer all these questions about his professional future. Are you going to play football? Are you going to play baseball? What do people have to say about it? Perhaps he's sick. Perhaps he's got a cold. But he practiced today, right? Hollywood Brown practiced today. Everybody, from what I understand and what I know and what we've reported at OUinsider.com, is they're locked in. Okay, nobody's in trouble. Nobody's staying out late. Everybody's hitting curfew. The guys are taking control of their destiny. Kenneth Murray Jr. got to the podium today and said, look, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We were here last year and we let it get away. The fact that we get a second opportunity to do this means we can't screw it up. If they get a 17-point lead this year, I expect them to finish. I expect them to finish because they're not going to want to relive last year, because nobody expects anybody from this defense to do anything of substance against this Alabama offense. And I think that's got them mad. Matter of fact, I know it's got them mad because folks I talk to I get that people are writing us off. I get that we gave up a bunch of yardage, but the fact of the matter is you're not playing in this game if we didn't show up to play in the last 2 games of the season. And Curtis Bolton would say that with every fiber of his being. It's like, yeah, we get stunted on a lot, and deservedly so. But also, if we don't play, you don't win. And we're getting better, and we're going to do our part against Bama. All right, now let me take this next call. Burn, is this you?
Yeah, that's me.
All right, cool. Very cool.
Is this you? Is this RJ?
This is RJ.
Damn, you sound different on the phone than you do it on the
Wait.
Okay, so you must have a lag time. Different.
like.
Okay, cool. So are you ready for me? You're still talking online.
No, let's go. It's on a delay.
So yeah, I was gonna run the old long time listener, first time caller on you, but I guess I blew that.
No, you can still do it. I got a do over. You get a do over.
Anyway, let me turn the sound down so I don't get confused.
Okay.
Hey, I got a couple of observations. I've been watching a lot of Alabama football, which I don't normally try to do. First observation, I watched that Citadel game, and discounting the third quarter, with an average offensive lineman weighing 269 pounds, they really ran up and down on the Elephants. 275 yards rushing. They did it with misdirection and the option, but half those yards were straight up the middle.
Right.
So, that was the first game that I watched was that one. Yeah, third quarter, frankly, if Alabama hadn't scored 5 touchdowns in the third quarter, that would have been a one-score game. Second observation is the one thing that I noticed when I watched almost all their games, Tua Tagovailoa, under pressure, he tends to be way, way off target. He looks great when he's running, but if he's free, but he got somebody in his face, I didn't see him complete a lot of passes. Now, that's just me watching games and taking notes because, I couldn't find any stats for college football, about hurried throws. They're probably out there, but I couldn't find them. I don't have access to them.
Okay.
Third observation, watching the Sooners pass defense, and I've been saying this since the beginning of the season, I don't really see any difference in success rate between rushing 3 or 4 or rushing 5 or 6. If we have 7 back in coverage, hell, how many 3rd and 18s did we see get converted this year?
That was
the odds seem just as good for a completion for the when we play man to man with no safety net back there. Again, that's strictly observation. I'd have to go through every game Sooners played and rack it out. I'm sure that Ruffins got all that down. But anyway, my comment: I'm not worried at all about the Elephant defense, not even the least. After watching what I saw. They made some teams look bad, but I think teams just choked on them. They play poorly when confronted with misdirection. A strong running game, they've seen some, but they've also looked bad against them. And nobody has come at them with a strong running game and a top-tier passing attack. Now, that's all my ramblings. Now, my question for you. Wouldn't it behoove the Sooners to stack the box and shoot for stopping the run and putting pressure on what is, in my opinion, a flappable quarterback when he's trying to pass, rather than try to cover if they get in a passing mode?
I thought about that too. But what I know about the statistics is every time you blitz that dude, he beats you. Okay, it's like Kyler in that moment. There's a reason for which the completion percentage is so high. Because you try to get to him and play man across the board thinking that you're going to get to him. When really, if you send 5 or 6, you should probably send all 8. Because the chances of you getting to him are just as good. But if you got 8 as opposed to 5 or 6, numbers, you can't block more than you can't block all 8 of them with 5 or 6, right? So you're hoping you get there. But with this dude, and especially with this offense, you get to play a little bit differently because you know that OU's going to score. And you also know that this defense, Alabama's defense, is going to give up big plays. They've given up 54 plays of 20 yards or more. Oklahoma has put together double that, right, with 105 plays of 20 yards or more. So turn it into a basketball game by saying if they're going to score, make them score quick. And if they're not going to score, try to go get a turnover. So sending 5 or 6 or sending 3 or 4 and then dropping back in the coverage is not necessarily something I want to do because, to be terribly truthful, I'm more afraid of the run game than I am with Tua Tagovailoa and those wide receivers are going to do. Because what it usually comes down to is Josh Jacobs or Damian Harris is just going to gash you. And they can run the ball. Like, that's the thing. If you can stop the run against them, then Tua's not the problem. If you can stop the run, you're going to win the football game, right? I just don't know that they can stop the run because, like I know, the run defense ain't been stellar. As much as we bag on the pass defense and as many yards as they give up, the reason that they've always been able to, the reason that Big 12 teams have always been able to pass on them is because they can run the ball. You know, I mean, think about the West Virginia game and how it started. They set you up with the run. Then Will Greer makes a check at the line. You get the 6'6" wide receiver on the 5'9" cornerback, and that's all she wrote because you're playing man now because you're trying to top the run. So I'm of a mind to just engage 8 every time I get out there. Some sort of 6-man concept where I'm trying to bring all 6 off of one side of the ball as opposed to an even blitz. But more than that, I think Oklahoma's going to try to do itself some favors in the way that a lot of the Score Too Fast brigade has said, look, y'all got to really take it easy on scoring points because the defense doesn't really get an opportunity to catch its breath, and they're just going to run back out there. So one of the things I thought was interesting, and I'm going to talk about this at length, is why don't they just run some more option and run some more wishbone? Some flex bone. Did you watch the Citadel tape?
Yeah, that's what was killing them, their option.
Right.
Alabama would have Alabama would have lost to Army.
Right. And I guess that's kind of the point is it wasn't even that Citadel's that good at personnel-wise. Not even that they're that talented. It's that those boys literally just couldn't match up. Like, they didn't know what the assignments were. You need to know your alignment. You got to get aligned. You got to know your assignments, and then you got to react. But if you're not able to line up against it, you can't stop it. So, like, they ran student body left one time, and it was literally throwing 9 bodies at a place where Alabama had 5. So I don't care how big and strong you are. If they got more bodies than you, you're going to lose. You know, and I bet
Lincoln watched that tape too.
If you're Oklahoma, because that split back set that they like to run, right, with the 2 running backs next to Kyler Murray and the 21 personnel that they got, 2 backs, 1 tight end, you can get one-on-one matchups with Marquise and CD on the outside while you're running zone concepts inside. So I'm with you in that they don't scare me as much as they probably should. But that's because Oklahoma is the best offense that we've seen in this modern era, right? So the problem is if Oklahoma gets started slow like it did against Texas, I don't see them winning that game. That's the problem, right? Because if
I think they're going to come out shooting.
Do what?
I think they're going to come out shooting. I've got it 55-35. I think the defense is going to step up in a way that ain't nobody in Oklahoma seen in 4 or 5 years.
We'll see. And from your mouth to whomever's ears. Bern, thanks so much for being an early adopter of the channel. I can remember way back when it was Haynesville distribution in here, dropping knowledge and also saying, I don't think you know what you have here, but I'm going to be around for it, and I'm going to give some of my money to it to see that it succeeds. And, I mean, look at this. This is what? Started doing this in September 2017, and this is December 2018. And, you know, you look at how many folks are watching this live. You look at how many folks have subscribed to the channel. And I'd be lying if I thought you weren't a little crazy when you said that to me. But look at this.
Well, it's been fun watching you grow. I watch you. I don't get on here nearly as much anymore, but
no,
I'm still seeing it.
I appreciate it. I do. I really do.
All right, well, I'm going to get off so you can pontificate.
All right, Bern. We'll call in
See you later,
okay?
All
right, bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Wow. So that's cool. That was cool. I had one more thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to talk about Austin Kindle and Jalen Hertz, and we're going to try this again because I think it's important. But let's have us a little conversation about some transfer quarterbacks. I got Brandon Drum on. We started a podcast called Young and Drum. You can go check out the whole episode either on the channel or on SoundCloud or on iTunes. Search Young and Drum, it'll come up. But I thought that this particular nugget is going to be of interest to a lot of folks. And since you're here and you stayed through the technical difficulties that were made entirely by me, let's see what we got here. Let's see how this lurks. Transfer talk, right? Now, the quarterback situation for Oklahoma, for all intents and purposes, you're going to have a QB battle. And you would assume that Austin Kendall is the leader for that job. But Jalen Hertz, hasn't even put his name in the transfer portal, but he's also being talked about as a guy who could transfer to Maryland or Oklahoma or who knows what, because his name's not in the portal.
Yeah.
And then there's Justin Fields, who's put his name in the portal and is going to probably transfer unless something drastic happens at Georgia. And this is a guy who's been linked to Ohio State and Oklahoma. So real quick, who do you think is the starter for Oklahoma next season?
Jalen Hertz.
Oh.
Yeah, that's who I feel is going to be the starter.
Wow.
If he does in fact transfer to Oklahoma, I think he'd be the starter because and I've reported on this on OUinsider.com. It's just the stuff that I'm hearing is that the chances of him being at Oklahoma seem to be getting increasingly better as the days go on. Now, if Oklahoma, it's not a done deal. Okay, so don't read me wrong, people, because I think Mike Locksley at Maryland, the offensive coordinator at Alabama, is going to have some say in it. But I think his dad would like him at Oklahoma, and he's a high school football coach down in the Houston area, head football coach. So it's not like it probably hasn't been talked about through back channels, I'm sure. And I think that it's just one of those things where just how they've handled the rest of the situation is with class. They're just going to wait until after the season's over to put out, because why be a distraction for the team when they can just go ahead and handle things probably behind the scenes a little bit and go ahead and kind of lock down where they want to go, or at least pick their choices of where they want to visit real quick and make them a day or two visits each, and then sign where they want to go. Or if he wants to sit behind Tua, go for it. I think that comes to play. Now the shocking thing would be is if he goes out there and wins a national title for him this year because Tua's not healthy. I mean, there would be a competition then, but does he want to go through another competition? Or does he want to go to a place where he's going to walk in, be the starter, and have the athletes around him to possibly challenge for a national title? And that's Oklahoma. Now, I know you and I talked about off the air about some of the stuff with Austin Kendall, and there is a growing kind of, there's growing talk.
Let me throw this in there. When they were both being recruited in 2016, the guy who was a spot above Jalen Hurts in the recruiting rankings is Austin Kendall. And that's a guy who averaged 300 yards passing a game in high school.
Yeah.
He ain't the scrub that a lot of people want to make him out to be.
No, he's really good.
And
that's
just
what
because
everybody needs to realize.
People didn't want to necessarily anoint him because Kyler Murray was there, doesn't mean this dude is not plenty capable of winning the Heisman in 2019. And I guess
Tanner Mordecai is also another interesting aspect in all this, because that guy can flat out ball. And anybody that has any sort of connections inside that program will tell you, then everybody said, man, this guy's going to be a baller. The problem is Oklahoma's recruiting other ballers. So if Tanner Mordecai or Austin Kendall were at any other university outside of a select few, they would be the starters right now. I mean, they're that good.
And that's something you really have to think about if you're Austin Kendall. All right, so you got Brandon saying that if Jalen Hurts transferred, big if there, because we don't know that the dude is even going to leave, and we don't know how this season's going to turn out for Alabama. Could be that Tua, Hurts is pinky. Jalen Hurts comes in there, beats Oklahoma, wins the national championship. He ain't going anywhere. Whereas Oklahoma could drub Alabama, and then we're talking about who's the next quarterback for Oklahoma is going to be. I think it would be Austin Kendall. He thinks it would be Jalen Hurts. But, that's kind of the fun of this thing, man, is not really knowing. And that's wanted to be clear about what Brandon said. He said if that dude transferred and it was him and Austin Kendall, he thinks that Jalen Hurts will win the job just based on what he's heard and based on what he knows about what he's seen. I'm also of the opinion that Austin Kendall ain't no scrub, and I believe Lincoln Riley when he says he was neck and neck with Kyler Murray, and Kyler was just that much farther ahead. So, again, Austin Kendall has better odds to win the Heisman, according to Vegas, than Jalen Hurts, right? Austin Kendall was ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts in the 2016 quarterback rankings, and I need to do a video about this because those are just really interesting to look at now that a lot of those guys are draft eligible and choosing to go into the draft or not. but I thought it was worth putting a bee in your bonnet about what that could look like. Now, I want to do the read, and then I'm going to tell you the 5 ways that I think Oklahoma can beat Alabama and why it's really getting on everybody's nerves that the analysts, particularly at ESPN, are not really giving Oklahoma much of a chance to do anything at all. So let's do the read right quick in this really awesome live show that I had set up, and then I can't flip a button and turn the sound on, but, you know, that's, again, part of the charm of this channel is you watching me make mistakes and learn from them and grow from them, and we'll get it worked out, I promise. You know, don't make the same mistakes twice. Sign up for the OU Sooners T-Shirt of the Month Club and start receiving a new and unique design delivered right to your front door. Packages include standard and premium, both with free shipping from thefanstop.com. Use promo code RJYoung to receive 10% off your first order. That is thefanstop.com. Use the promo code RJYoung. One word, all caps. That's me, right? That's me. I have on a shirt from thefanstop.com. I like it. I wear it often. You'll see it in videos. I've gotten to know these guys through email. I can't wait to meet them here in a bit. We're going to do this thing. Probably going to talk about this cluster of a live show, to be honest with you. I'm not going to let this one go for a while because I worked really hard to try to produce a really great final show before the Orange Bowl. And I had, as you can see, these interviews set up, and I had this new tape to run, and best laid plans, right? But let's get back to the thing that I do best, which is talk and pontificate from on high about what I think is going on, okay? So the 5 ways in which I think Oklahoma can beat the vaunted Alabama Elephants, Alabama Crimson Tide. The first one is, check this out, score 51 points. And for other teams, that might be a big deal. Other teams don't score 51 points in 3 games. Other teams can't dream of scoring 51 points in a game. Oklahoma is in a position a lot of times to where it will let its foot off the gas and still run the score up, right? Kind of like Army against Houston. But when Oklahoma scores 51 points a game, they are undefeated in the Lincoln Riley era, 11-0. Oklahoma averages 49.5 points per game. 49.5. Basically averages 50 a game. So all I'm saying is score 1.5 more points than you normally score to ensure victory. Now, there's a lot of other ways and a lot of other point values for which Oklahoma can win this game, but that is one in which they are undefeated when they score 51. The next one is don't give up on the run. One of the things that I think Georgia did really well before it went off the rails late was try to establish the run. They weren't able to do a lot because that Alabama defensive line is good. Those linebackers are good. But they kept running the ball. They kept sending DeAndre Swift. They kept sending Elijah Holyfield. They kept running the ball at that defensive line so that later Jake Fromm, he can hit Isaac Nada over the middle against Dylan Moses, which I think is a soft spot in that defense. And you were able to get plays out of your passing game that I don't think you would have gotten if you weren't establishing the run and slowly sucking up the safeties, slowly get those linebackers just thinking run all the time as opposed to play action, and then you can get after it. And if you do that in your Oklahoma, you can do it with Kyler Murray, you can do it with Trey Sermon, you can do it with Kennedy Brooks. And because they have to respect the legs of Kyler Murray everywhere they go, as soon as you have them thinking about run, there goes Hollywood, there goes CD, there goes Calcaterra or Lee Morris. So don't give up on the run. And if you can run the ball for 300 yards against Alabama, you're going to win the game, right? The next thing I think you should do, and I've mentioned this to Byrne, and I'm going to make a video about this, is run the triple option. I say run the wishbone because that's Oklahoma, but run the flexbone because Alabama demonstrated that it has a weakness, and that weakness is offensive schemes that they don't see, right? It's stuff like what Citadel was able to do, and I say this because Citadel runs flexbone. Citadel's an FCS team. Citadel, for what it is basically a service academy. It's not really a service academy, but that's how it operates. So you don't even get to recruit the best athletes at that level, and you don't even get to recruit the best, perhaps, service academy athletes because those are going to Navy or Army or Air Force. And so you have to run something in which you can win some football games with limited talent. And in running the flexbone, they showed Alabama a look that for an entire half of football they could not figure out. And it was simply they couldn't align against it. They didn't read the pitch man. They couldn't really make good decisions about how to attack that offense. And I think it's not just them. Army, for what it did against Houston, showed problems against Navy. And Navy, to most people, ain't the team that Houston was. Right? Navy wasn't very good this year. But Army-Navy was a good game because Navy was able to give Army problems running the flex bone, and Navy was able to stop Army running the flex bone because they see it all the time. So if you're Oklahoma, put some of that into your game plan, because the moment you come out in a flex bone look, or the moment you come out in a wishbone look, that's a timeout by the defense coordinator at Alabama, because wait, we didn't plan for this. So if you do it twice in one game, chances are you're going to burn up a couple timeouts, and that's going to give you an edge. But if you can get a couple plays off, run that look, and you can go fast, and you can get tempo, you can get an easy 6, right? Another way that I think that you could really win this game is defensively to finish strong. It's like I said earlier in the show, look, Oklahoma's defense has shown that if you give them a lead in the fourth quarter, they'll close for you. They'll also show that they'll get you some points here, unlike what they've been able to do earlier in the year. They do get stops. You know, like we make fun of them all the time because 3rd and 18s are like basically first downs. But there were quite a few plays that ended the drive because they got off the field on 3rd down. And if you can do that, you can lead Alabama to punting, and they're not very good at it. Okay? Their punter averages 37.9 yards per punt, and they are ranked dead last in yards per punt. Dead last in all of FBS. They are just sorry at punting the football, and this is where Shane Beamer is going to go to work. One of the reasons that Shane Beamer was brought into Oklahoma is to get points and turnovers out of the special team, and he's done that. Now you're bringing in a guy that has experience playing against Nick Saban in Alabama at Georgia, and you have a guy who's been able to revamp your entire special teams unit, and you have a special teams unit that thinks really good about itself. They're able to return kicks. They're able to block kicks. You're going to be able to dial up some stuff if you get Alabama into a punting situation. And Shane Beamer and that special teams unit are probably going to be able to get you a turnover, maybe even get you 6. So get them into punts because they can't punt it, and you're probably better at blocking punts than they are at getting punts off. Right? And the last thing is explode on offense. Explode on offense. You mentioned me, or you heard me mention earlier that Alabama has given up 54 plays of 20 yards or more. That's not good. Even over 13 games, that's not very good. Oklahoma has doubled that total, or nearly doubled that total. 105 plays of 20 yards or more. Some of them are Kyler Murray breaking out downfield. Some of them are deep passes to Hollywood Brown or CeeDee Lamb or Grant Calcaterra or Lee Morris. Or big runs from Kennedy Brooks. Some from Trey Sermon. Right? You have that in your repertoire. And if you're able to explode offensively and score fast, you're able to continue to stay in this football game. And this is my last thing about how Oklahoma can beat Alabama. Probably should make a video about this too. But Oklahoma's a cockroach. Oklahoma is a cockroach. Okay? What do I mean by that? Oklahoma is not the kind of team you can spray some exterminator spray on and say, okay, we're done with that. Oklahoma is the kind of team you better stomp out. Okay? If you got a cockroach infestation, spraying them it ain't really going to do it. You're going to have to stomp on them because especially these Oklahoma cockroaches like we got here, once they in here, they hard shell, prickly some guns. Okay? It's like Men in Black once you get them in there. And you got to stomp them out. Otherwise, they'll be squirming around there and off they go. Like as Texas. Now, I know Oklahoma lost this game, but you get the point. Texas thought they had Oklahoma beat. Thought they had Oklahoma stomped out with 6 minutes left to go in the fourth. And then Kyler Murray and this offense scored 21 points. So if Oklahoma is anywhere within striking distance and you're Alabama, you better finish them. Otherwise, we all know that Kyler Murray and this offense just need the ball. They don't need a lot of time. They don't need a first down. They just need the ball. And if it comes down to Lincoln Riley and Kyler Murray having the ball to win the game, I expect that to be a thing. I expect Oklahoma to finish. And Oklahoma does have the edge in the kicking game. As much as people say, I hope it doesn't come down to a field goal, Oklahoma's the better of the two field goal kickers. Okay? Alabama's kicker is 12 of 16 on the year. All right? Austin Seibert is the leading scorer in Oklahoma Sooners history. If it comes down to a kicker, you want it to come down to your kicker, and Oklahoma has the better kicker. All right. That is going to do it for me. We're going to try to do more call-ins. We're going to try to remember to turn on the microphone. If you like this podcast, if you like this live show, if you like this channel, like and subscribe to the channel, right? Upload a video every single day, twice a day this month, because there's just been so much to talk about. I really appreciate everybody hanging out, hanging with me, figuring this out with me on the fly, watching the replays, giving me feedback on the stuff that I do wrong, on the audio, technical, visual stuff. I also appreciate hearing that I do a good job, that I am giving everything I have to make good quality content right here on the YouTubes. All right. I will see you tomorrow. Deuces.